guys, and welcome back to my channel. If you're new to my channel, I'm Jen and you're already here, so you might as well hit that big red subscribe button that's somewhere around here. Give this video a thumbs up at the end of the video if you enjoy this video, and let's jump into today's video. So we all have a first time for everything, and let me tell you about the time I ditched school for the very first time and then I got sent to the emergency room because I'm just a fucking piece of shit. If you're, not new to my channel, you know that I would get bullied back in middle school. So basically I ditched school because I honestly hated being at school and I just never wanted to go to school, and I would always beg my mom and tell her, please don't take me to school, but she would make me. So one day, me and my friend Mireya decided to ditch school, and all of our friends were so mad at us because they were like, oh my god, how the fuck are you gonna ditch school? Like, you cannot just fucking ditch school and, call it a fucking day. You need to come to school. So me and her were like, thinking we're like the shit, thinking we're like cool. And we ditched school anyways. The whole entire time our friends are texting us like, you need to come back, you need to come back, come to school, your mom's gonna find out, you're gonna get in so much trouble. If the school finds out you ditched school, you're gonna get suspended, just come back to school. So me and my friend Mireya were like, nah, it's a little too late. So the thing was that it was like a minimum day, so it was only like about 4 hours that we were gonna be, fucking around, not doing shit, because that's what you do when you ditch school, unless you have like older friends and they have a car and you could go and fucking party or something. But we were freaking like 7th graders and we were reckless and we didn't give a fuck about school, and we were just like, oh my god, let's be fucking cool and ditch school together. So it was around 8 o'clock already, or like 8:30, and we managed to leave school, get off our bus, and just like walk off, because like a lot of students are walking to school, so no one really knows if you're going to school or just like going home to go get something from your house. So her and I just walked away from school, and it was like around 9 when we got to the park, because like, well, it's not that far, it's probably like 8:30, but it was like around 8:30 and we were already at the park, chilling, not doing shit, and we're like, oh my gosh, let's play in the playground because there's nothing else to do. So we were just playing in the fucking playground like little fucking kids. I mean, we were little kids, but we were just like swinging on the swings, and we're like, oh my gosh, like I can't believe we're ditching school. And then we're like, oh, you want to go hiking? Because the mountains were right by our school, and a lot of people go hiking in the morning. So it was getting really fucking hot, and I had like I want to say I had like a cardigan on or something, because I was wearing a black spaghetti strap under. So remember that black spaghetti strap. So I took off the little cardigan that I was wearing and I put it in my backpack, and then I was like, I don't really want to go hiking with all our shit. So we hid it behind these rocks, and like the mountain has like a lot of rocks, so we just hid it behind a stupid rock, and we didn't even like check to see what was around, or we didn't even like put like a little stamp, to make sure that we'd go back to find our stuff. So we put our shit behind the rock and we just go off on a little hike, and then we start, exploring. So we're over here fucking exploring, we find like a lot of dump sites that people just go and dump their shit, because Paris is ghetto like that, and I don't know, people don't give a fuck. Then we just keep walking further down to keep exploring, and then we find like a shooting range, and we're like, oh my gosh, a shooting range, how cool. And we're just like walking around, and then there was like a little house. So we go inside the little house, and there's literally like clothes everywhere. Like if someone lived there, we think that like a hobo lived there, and then like he just sleeps there at nighttime, and then throughout the day he just goes and does what hobos do. I don't know. So we were just like, oh my gosh, this is someone's house. And then like we flipped the lid, and there was like a freaking scorpion just chilling there, because we were in the fucking mountains and we were just fucking retarded, and we could have fucking got bitten and died or something, and like no one would have ever known. So we keep like exploring or whatever. It's like around 10:30, and then like we're just like walking around the shooting range, and then we hear the trash guy going to pick up the fucking trash, and we're like, oh my god, they're gonna catch us. So we're just like trying to hide and shit, making sure that the trash guy doesn't see us, because then he'll call the police, and then we'll have to go to school, and then our parents will find out, and then we'll get suspended. So we just hide until the guy leaves. So after he leaves, we're like, okay, we need to get the fuck out of here. So we go back to the park, and we're just kind of like not thinking about our shit. We're just kind of like, oh, well, it's still kind of hot. Like, what do we do now? So then my friend Mireya has this brilliant idea. She's like, oh, let me hit up these guys that I know that live around here. I think they were like her sister's friends or something. So then she like hits them up, and then they have a car, so they pick us up, and then like we're like, you know, put the fucking AC on because it's fucking hot. So they put the AC on the car, and we're like, oh my gosh, thank God this car has AC, because it was literally like an old car. And you know, some old cars don't really have AC, but thank God that one had AC, and it saved my life. And I was like super dehydrated already because it was like maybe like almost 100 degrees that day. It was really hot. So then we get to the guy's house, and we're just like sitting down in his garage, and he gave us water and stuff. And then they start to smoke weed. And at the time I wasn't really a smoker. Like I would just pretend that I smoked to be cool. So I was just kind of like just sitting down, you know, being like really conservative. And they're like, oh, you want to take a hit? And I was like, no, I'm okay. So then they're just like, okay, whatever. And they keep smoking weed. And then my friend's like, are you sure you don't want to smoke? And I was like, yeah, I'm sure. Not today. And then whatever. It's like almost time to go home. But like we're still chilling there. And then another guy comes. So then there's like these two random guys that I have no idea who they are. And I think my friend barely knows them. Like for all we know, these guys could have been like serial killers, and we could have gotten killed, and no one would have known anything. No one would track us down or whatsoever. So I don't know, it just blows my mind how I'm still alive till this day. So whatever, it's getting close to the time, you know, that school is almost out, and I need to go back to the school to get on my bus to go home. So I was like, okay, like it's time to go home. And the guys were like so generous, and they took us to where we left our bags, and they waited for us there until we went to go find our shit. So we go to the fucking mountains and we're like, oh fuck, where did we leave our shit? So we're literally fucking running around going crazy looking for our fucking shit, and we cannot fucking find it. And I'm like, dude, like I need my folder. I have like shit in there. Like, I mean, like who cares like what I had in there, because I honestly didn't even promote for middle school because I was just so fucking retarded and I'm a piece of shit. And I wouldn't do homework or anything, but like what I had in my folder were pictures of me and like my dad and my family. So I was like, oh my gosh, like I want those pictures. Like who gives a fuck about the homework? You know, I just wanted my personal shit back. So I'm like, oh my gosh, dude, like I cannot find my shit. We just need to fucking go to the school and leave right away. So we just hop on the car, and the guys were like, oh, where's your guys' stuff? And we're like, oh, well, we can't find it. So then they drive us to the school, drop us off, and then like I walk to my bus, and the buses are already leaving. So there was like 2 rows, maybe like with, I want to say like 6 buses in each row, and or maybe less. That's a lot of buses. But I was like looking for my fucking bus, and the buses were already turned on, and they were like going already, and I was like, oh my god, I can't find my fucking bus. So then I turn around, and my principal is like, what are you doing? And I'm like, oh, I'm looking for my bus. He's like, no, it's too late. Come over here. You're gonna get like hit by a bus. So he pulls me to like the side, like in the curb. He's like, what are you girls doing? Where were you guys? And then I was like, oh, I'm looking for my bus. I just can't find it. So since I was wearing a black spaghetti strap, and like my hair was like covering the strap, but like this side wasn't, kind of like how I am right now. He's like, you didn't get dress code all day today? And I flipped my hair back, and I was like, oh no. Fuck. So my fucking spaghetti strap was like ripped. So he was like, did you get in a fight? And I was like, no, I didn't get in a fight. I'm just trying to look for my bus. And then he was all like, no, I think you got in a fight. You guys need to come to the office with me right away. So we're like, fuck, dude. Like we couldn't really like run or anything, because if we ran, they would probably just like chase us, and there was like no getaway cars. So we were just like, fuck it. Let's just go inside with them to see what the fuck they want. So then we go inside the school, and we're sitting down in the principal's office, and I'm just like texting my mom, telling her that I didn't catch the bus and to come pick me up at school, and just kind of explaining to her that I kind of like got after school detention. So as I'm texting, they were like checking our school record, and they noticed that we weren't in school the whole entire day. And they were like, where were you guys all day today? Did you guys ditch school? And then we're like, oh no, we were in our classes. And they're like, all your teachers mark you as truant. So we're like, fuck. And then like I call my mom, and I'm telling her like, come pick me up like right now, because like I did not want to stay there any longer. Like I didn't want to hear them argue with me, because the principal was getting kind of like feisty, and he started yelling at me like super loud, and I was getting kind of scared. So then They all come and attack me while I'm talking on the phone with my mom, and they're like, give me the phone, and I'm like fucking yelling, telling my mom like, come pick me up, and my mom's like freaking terrified on the other line, saying like, what's going on, are you okay, are they hurting you? Because like my mom thought they were jumping me, since like a lot of people didn't like me and stuff like that. So my mom is over here thinking I'm getting jumped or something, and I'm over here fucking yelling, not making it any better. So I just pretended to faint. I completely pretended to lose conscious and just fall on the floor and let my phone fall, and I'm just like on the floor like, oh my god, I don't feel good. And then like I'm like falling asleep and waking up at the same time. And my friend Mireya is looking at me like, what the fuck is going on? Like, she's just sitting down so calm and just staring at me, you know, make this whole entire scene in the principal's office. So they all like help me up. They're like, oh my gosh, Jennifer, are you okay? And they're like picking me up and like, do you need some water? And I'm like, oh my gosh, like I don't feel good. So then like they pick me up, like 3 people are picking me up. There was like this detention guy, he's picking up my legs, and then like the principal and this other lady were holding me like for my leg and my back. So they take me to like the nurse's office and lay me down and put like ice packs all over me because they thought I was dying. And I'm like sitting there, and then like the firefighters come like instantly. Like they come so fast. Like I think that firefighters and the paramedics respond to schools so much faster than anywhere else. So the firefighters and the ambulance are right there in the fucking nurse's office, like, oh my gosh, sweetie, are you okay? What happened? Tell us what happened. And I'm over here like pretending, you know, like to be like super sick, and I'm like, I don't know, my fucking principal just started yelling at me and I didn't feel good. And they're like, watch your mouth. And I'm like, well, it's true, my principal started yelling at me and I just fainted and I don't know what happened. And then my mom shows up with like all my brothers, and all my brothers are just like super fucking scared because I have like 3 younger brothers. They're like, Nenny, are you okay? Nenny, are you okay? And I'm just like, yeah, like I'm okay. And my mom's like, ¿Qué pasó? ¿Qué pasó? She's like freaking out, and I'm like, I don't know what happened. And then like the principal's trying to talk to my mom, but my mom doesn't know fucking English, so they call a counselor that knows Spanish. They're like, oh yeah, like sweet has this desmayó and blah blah, and she tells her like the whole entire story that I told you. So my mom is like so fucking pissed, and like they tell her that I ditched school and everything, and she's just even more fucking pissed. She's like, Aya, you guys are gonna have to do a drug test on her, because if she's doing drugs, I do not want her in my house. So I feel so bad for my mom, and she doesn't even know I faked this whole entire thing. So if you're watching this, Mom, I'm so sorry. So after that, like they load me up onto the fucking little bed and they take me into the like the ambulance car or whatever it's called. And then my mom doesn't know how to drive on freeway. She's like, oh my gosh, what hospital are you guys gonna take her to? They're like, oh, we're gonna take her across the freeway to the Menifee hospital. So my mom's like, oh my gosh, like I don't know how to drive on the freeway. And then my counselor, she's like so nice, she was like, I'll drive you there, Mom, like don't worry. So then like my counselor drives my mom, you know, in her car, I guess, and I'm in the ambulance, you know, just getting my blood drawn and shit, and I'm just like, oh my gosh, like I cannot believe it got this far. So I'm in the fucking hospital, and my mom's like, are you doing drugs? Are you doing drugs? And I'm like, no, I'm not doing drugs. She's like, why did you ditch school? And I started like explaining to her the whole story, how I never want to go to school because people would bully me and all this fucking shit. And she was just like, well, if you're doing drugs, I don't want you in the house. I don't want people doing drugs in my house, especially my children. She's like, you're gonna need to go get help. And then finally the doctor comes in and she's like, your daughter's not doing drugs, she's clean. Like we looked her for like weed and any other fucking types of drugs, and she's clean. So then my dad comes. My dad drove all the way from fucking San Diego to fucking Menifee, and my dad's like, oh my gosh, like are you okay? And I'm like, yeah, like I'm okay now. And then like we're just like sitting there like waiting for them to like let us leave. And then my dad's like, oh my gosh, like are you doing drugs? And like, no, the doctor told us that everything was okay and everything was fine. And I'm just like, I feel like a fucking piece of shit. I just lied to everyone. So whatever. They call us and like, oh yeah, your daughter's suspended for a fucking week. And I was like, what the fuck? I'm still fucking suspended. I finally go back to school like a week later. And then on the second week, my friend comes back with my shit and it's like fucking wet. because I think it rained. She was like, oh, I found like your stuff. And then I was like, oh my god, like where was it? She was like, I don't know, like I just found like these pictures and stuff. The pictures were like really torn and really fucked up. But you know, I don't regret everything that I did that day. I do regret some parts, but I did it all for the experience. And if I didn't have the experience, then I wouldn't be sharing it with you guys. But always be honest with your parents. Don't ditch school and get sent to the hospital like me. And just don't ditch school at all, because you never know what could happen to you, and your parents will never really actually know the truth about what happened if something did happen to you. So it's always better to, you know, do what you're supposed to do and follow the rules, even though sometimes we could be young and stupid and be like, oh my gosh, like I don't care what anybody says, I'm the own boss of myself. But in reality, your parents are always right and they just want the best for you. That's my story about when I did school, failed, and got sent to the hospital. I hope you guys enjoyed this video, and if you made it to the end of the video, don't forget to subscribe, give this video a thumbs up, and until next time.